Good evening. Thank you for being here. I am Warren Davis. This is The Naked Singer. Let's sit down and talk. I want to talk about that first episode, that first post for me. Um, to be honest with you, and I told you guys I was going to have nothing but honesty here because I have nothing but vulnerability. We're cracking the eggshell open and we're not afraid to tell the truth and be who we really are. So, that being said, I hated it. Hate's a strong word. I really didn't like it. I watched it back before I even posted it. It was kind of cool just seeing myself in video form, I guess. But I really didn't want to do it. I said in the video, "Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it," and I think that happens to us a lot in life. You psych yourself up for whether it's going to work, going to the gym, for something that you know deep down you don't want to experience. You don't want to really expose yourself to. Just going and talking to somebody sometimes. And yeah, then when you get to that point, you get cold feet. You're like, oh wait, no, I don't know if I want to do it. And so yeah, I didn't want to post the video, but at the same time, I also looked at it as a must. It needed to happen. It was the first step towards the path to what I would define as my own success. And so there really wasn't any other option. I didn't like how long it was. I'm hoping that this is shorter, hoping that I learn from that, which is all you kind of can do with everything. I didn't like that I rambled on so much. It should have been more organized. I should have gave you guys more depth as far as not necessarily things to learn, but things to gain. Just in understanding. And yes, it was the first video, so I gave myself a little bit of grace in that. But I don't know. I could have just done more. And that brings me to just that whole idea of regret, which is going to be what I want to talk about today, which speaking of which, I'm regretting not starting my timer again. You live and you learn. Because I regret that video being 34 minutes. I'm going to make this shorter. Almost kind of no matter what is the goal here. But when it comes to regret, it's always the thought of, I could have done more. I could have done better. And I remember when I played sports, no matter if, I played, basketball, football, you name it, pretty much. And no matter if by the terms of, I guess, the stat sheet or maybe the team won, no matter what that meant, there was always something when I got home I could have nitpicked and been like, I could have made that bucket though, or I could have crossed that guy up to make the crowd go crazy and look good in front of them. Or I was a corner in football. There was a lot of, I don't want to say a lot. Let's be honest. There was a couple games where I had interceptions, and that was pretty cool. But still, even in those games, I would replay the moment in my mind of seeing the ball in the air, and this is at the same time, well, kind of a little bit later. That's going to show my age, but that's okay because we're being vulnerable. I think I might have said my age on the last video anyway. I am 27 years old, if I didn't clear that up. I see the ball in the air, and I'm thinking of Odell Beckham, and I'm like, oh man, I can. But I didn't do that. I didn't go for it. In reality, I didn't go for it. Regardless of if the receiver caught it or not, I come home and I'm like, man, that would have been cool if I would have done this, if I would have gave more. And, I don't think I ever realized at that age when I was younger that it was a no matter what happened in the game, even if from everybody else's standards, I had a pretty good game. You know, for me, I was always thinking I could have done more, right? So I think that kind of brings up the conversation of, do we expect the most from ourselves? Do we expect more than maybe other people expect from us? You know, do we nitpick ourselves more than other people would? Right? Do we look at the worst in ourselves? All those questions I think have to be addressed. And I can speak to my personal experience with posting that first video. Little quick story. It was a good little learning curve experience posting that first video. I haven't been on YouTube in a while, and so it took a good bit. It took a while for it to upload and everything. Then when I got to creating the thumbnail, it gave me some options, and I don't know why, but I couldn't see completely clear. But I saw one, because I'm not at the point yet where I have the graphics ability, maybe eventually, where I can make my own thumbnail, and have the clickbait or whatever. I don't think there's any clickbait in this. It's literally just me sitting here the entire time. But anyway, could probably find a way. Oh, that's a bug. It gave me some options, and one of the options, it looked like I was smiling. The other options, was like closed mouth, and I was looking this way, something like that. So I went with the one that I thought I was smiling. Well, I went through that whole fight of, I don't want to post this video because it's so long and I could have been better here and better there. I post the video. It goes through, it finally goes into YouTube, and I think I went straight to my phone. I went to my laptop and was like, okay, I want to see it from a third person point of view, basically. Like if I was just, kind of looking for stuff. And I go and I look it up and I see the thumbnail, and it wasn't me smiling. It was me like this. And I was like, no, that's not what I meant to do. Especially because, and here's honesty hour again, I've always been pretty self-conscious about my teeth. Believe it or not, I had braces for 4 years when I was younger, about 4th grade to 8th grade. I think the problem was afterwards. So here's a lesson if you have braces. The problem was afterwards I never wore my retainer. Yeah. So my teeth kind of, not completely back to what they were, but they were a lot straighter when I had the braces. Let's just say that. And so anyway, more specifically, I've been pretty self-conscious about this tooth in particular. It kind of protrudes out of my mouth. Some would call it maybe, I don't know, a snagger tooth, or just an annoying tooth is what I call it. If it comes time, yeah, it can almost bite my bottom lip just itself and kind of stick out. So anyway, I saw that thumbnail, and again, the thoughts came fluttering in about, man, that's ugly, dude. That's terrible. I look terrible, And the only way I really combated that was I was like, well, it's already up. There's nothing I can do now, But it brought me to thinking about us seeing the worst in ourselves, us being our own biggest critics. And as time went on, today is actually Tuesday. I posted that video yesterday on Monday, but recorded it on Sunday. You're getting the behind the scenes stuff. You'll see this video on Wednesday. Anyway, after time, it's been 24 hours. I haven't had anything but positive comments. I haven't had anything about my appearance. Let alone the show itself, that I was kind of hating it because it was so long and all those other things. Now, as time goes on, as I do more of these episodes, will I encounter moments and maybe people like that? Possibly. But I'm so thankful that after that first episode, I didn't get any of that about whether it's my appearance or about the episode itself. Not because I just don't want it, right? It would be uncomfortable to be getting those types of negative comments. But also it made me learn that it really wouldn't matter. It really wouldn't matter what anybody else says, you know? And it doesn't matter the negative thoughts that I have about it, right? And why doesn't it matter? It doesn't matter because nobody else is thinking that way, right? Or at least I have to believe that. Maybe you watch that first video and you know me and you're like, I don't know. This guy's kind of off his rocker right now. The name is Naked Singer and he's doing this and I don't know. Should we check up on him? You know, I'm good, by the way. But that's funny to think of. No, it's just me who is making those thoughts up. Really, it's my mind kind of playing tricks on me. And this makes sense. There's a lot of things that our mind tries to protect us, right? If you have a fear of heights, you start walking to the edge of the Grand Canyon, your mind's going to tell you, whoa, dude, slow down. Wait, hold on. It's almost going to be like a pool, right? Same thing for, just uncertainty. Maybe it's not fear. Maybe it's uncertainty. It's you don't know what's beyond that. You don't know what's in those woods. No, don't go in the woods. It's dark. You don't know what's going on. Right? It's a mind game. And it's for our protection. It's for our survival. But when it comes to posting a podcast, I tell my mind, what's the worst that can happen? Literally, the worst that can happen is I say something crazy and I lose my job for it. Not that I lose friends, not that I lose my support systems, but I lose my job for it. I'm hoping that I can maintain that sanity enough. I can be vulnerable, but I can maintain that sanity enough to where I won't lose my job. Then what else is the worst case scenario? Actually, that might be the only thing, right? I mean, yeah, the whole, cancel culture thing, lose job, lose respect from everybody. But I'm really not afraid of that. More so, not that I don't care. I do care for sure. I want my job. Let's be honest. I like money. And I like that security to be able to do things in my life that I want to do. But it's more so I trust myself that I won't do something like that. I trust that whatever I am doing, whatever I am saying here is me, it's true, it's real, it's authentic to who I am. It goes with my own morals. I'm not going to sacrifice that to get likes and get subscribers. And so that being said, I have faith that, not that I will never do any wrongdoing, but not enough to cause a stir or get fired from it. So, yeah, man, I don't think we should see the worst in ourselves all the time. I don't think we should. I think we do. I don't think we should because other people aren't. Right? It's like when you put on your clothes and you're like, oh, is this, is this showing too much, or does this look good? Well, nobody else is really asking those questions, especially if you're going out in the night and, other people got a bunch of other things going on. Let's just, I can't speak for everybody, but at least for me, I hope the world cares more about who people are rather than what they look like and what they wear. But actually now saying that out loud, maybe that's a little bit of a fantasy. Maybe that's a little bit of a dream. I don't know. I guess we'll work through that. So that brings me to my next little part, which is regret. The idea of that regret. I definitely don't. It's probably the opposite. I'm proud. I felt accomplished. And then I was motivated to do a better second episode. So I definitely do not regret posting that first episode. But regret as a whole, because I have regretted in life. Whether it was in a sports game or there was an interaction at a store with somebody I knew and I didn't give them the person that I would want to be, right? I didn't, and a lot of people, maybe you see somebody at the store and you kind of like run away. Maybe that talks to you. I saw this person and I was like, afterward, I reflected on it and I was like, man, I should have been more like this. I should have been more like that. Just more about who I would, the type of person that I want to give off, right? From their point of view, how would I like to be seen, right? And I don't think that's too much letting other people dictate who you are. I think that helps in kind of creating the person that you want to be. Because we can always tell ourselves that we're these types of people. You can look in the mirror, you can say a bunch of affirmations, but then when you get out into the real world, it is going to kind of be, I might take other people's word about who you are more than your own, right? It's just like when a crime happens, if 50 witnesses say it's this person, I'm going to believe that it was that person. If that person says, no, it wasn't me, well, you're just one person, I don't know. I guess that's kind of how I think about it. So I was thinking, I should have been better in that moment. And what ended up happening was I then, something unlocked in my mind. I then pretended, and I did this with the sports too. I pretended like I caught the ball, but it would kind of like fester and it wasn't as clear. For this, I let my mind visualize and pretend like I did do everything I would want to do if I had to do it again. As perfect as I would think it would to be. Right? Saying this and doing that. And, looking this way. Right? The type of person that I would want to be. And what it did was not only it cleared up my own doubts, because I was beating myself up. Like I said, we're our biggest critic. I was beating myself up, and it kind of took that away. It like tricked me into thinking that that's what really happened. This like perfect dream like thought that I had of the situation. But also it helped me go forward. It helped me visualize a future that if I were to get into that situation again, if I were to experience that again, that is then what I would do. Would I do it as perfect as that? Probably not. But at least it would be closer. And so that's kind of like this. I'm looking at my watch. I'm at 17:30 on my watch. It's probably about almost 20 minutes in the video. I was aiming between 10 and 20. So I got to work on the rambling. I'll be honest, man. I was definitely more organized. I actually had some bullet points with some dashes. In episode 1, it was just bullet points. So I was a little bit more structured here. Before I go, here's what I want to leave you with. Actually, a couple things, because I planned it. One quote, talking about regrets, is to let your past regrets fuel your present aspirations and pave the path for your future successes. Right? As soon as I thought of that, those words came to me and I put them on paper. I thought of Kobe Bryant. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, after 2008, they lost to the Celtics in the finals of 2008. He was asked, what are you going to do? Like, how hard are you going to work in the offseason now? And he said, I'm going to push myself to exhaustion. And he's kind of bringing that up, is that I'm using my prior experience. I'm using that pain, that hurt, possibly that, let's define that as regret, right? Because regret, I think everybody can agree, is a negatively connotated word. Okay. But we can reframe it. Instead of letting regret kind of consume you, we can harness it. Harness the regret. Realize it, like I did in my experience that I had at the store with somebody, and I was like, you know what? Let me harness this regret. I wish I would have done better with that interaction. I wish I would have done better in that sports game. Let me think about it. Let me visualize how I could have done better. Okay, now, boom. Let's get rid of that past thought, that negative, I could have done better things. And when I face that, when I do, just let it be here. There's no chomping. You could be chomping at the bit, but you can't, for football, you only play every Friday. For basketball, it was every, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever. These interactions with people, that's kind of maybe once every 2 weeks. I see somebody that I know at the store, something like that. But you got to kind of let go of the past, visualize it, let go of the past, okay? Then you're able to see what it would look like when you experience that again. And just live the rest of your life. And then when you experience that again, that's when you bring that to the front, right? And you use it. That's how you harness that regret. So Kobe's talking about the regret of losing, right? Does he think he could have done more? Probably. He probably thinks he could have done more. He probably thinks the team could have done more. He probably thinks he could have worked harder during the season and the offseason leading up to it, whatever it is. He's using that to go, you know what? What am I going to do now? And that is how it fuels your present aspirations, right? In the present time, now, what am I going to do? Right? What am I going to do that's going to help me get to there? What am I going to do that's going to help me not face that regret again? That's the thought. And if we do that, I think you can pave that path to your own definition of your future successes. Okay? I do want to say, I think I said in the first video, I don't come on here to act like I know everything. We're figuring it out together. I'm actually literally trying to figure it out right now. Truth be told, the past year in 2025, I did a lot of these videos, but it was just me, never posted them. I was in my car, I was here, I was there, talking about just whatever was kind of on my mind. And I think I'm grateful for it, because I think that has helped me approach this in a more authentic way. That I don't want anything from you guys. I really, it's almost selfish in a way, that this is more for me than it is for you, I guess. The only thing that I would want for you, which I would want for everybody, right, is to find what, those struggles that you're having in life are, and sit down with them, talk it out, and find a path toward the resolution. Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be in a week? Is it going to be in a month? Maybe not. Depends on what your deal is, right? But that's kind of, I guess, right now on my mind, what exactly I would want. And I do want, my goodness, I do want to end this episode. I got to. I had other plans, but that's okay. Sometimes things got to come to an end, even though you don't want them to. So, yeah. Thank you for giving me your time. You definitely didn't have to. You could have been doing anything else in the world, anything else with your life. So I appreciate it. I just hope, and this goes to what I was saying earlier, I hope that if there was anything, and hopefully there was more in this episode than in number 1, if there was anything in this episode that sparked any type of conversation within yourself, that I hope and I encourage you to give that your time as well. Because you are powerful beyond measure. And I don't think you should be afraid of your own thoughts. Good, bad, ugly, whatever they are. It's you. Okay? So, till next time. Peace.